the Nigeria Labour Congress has condemned a proposed 40% hike in electricity tariffs. They're calling it insensitive and callous. The Labour Union says life in Nigeria could become more difficult, much more difficult, due to a barrage of pricing hikes, including fees in tertiary institutions. In a statement, NLC President Joe Ajero urged the federal government to halt the proposed tariff hike for the collective safety of the masses. The NLC argues that there have been increases without notice in violation of statutes. President Bola Tinubu says, says that Nigeria is ready to do business. He was speaking to investors on the sidelines of the Summit for New Global Finance in the French capital. There, Tinubu met with the president of the Afro-Exim Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, and president of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Odile Renaud Basso. A statement from the presidency quotes the president saying that the ongoing reforms in Nigeria, starting with the scrapping of fuel subsidies and streamlining of the exchange rate, will be sustained for a more competitive economy that attracts foreign direct investment. Joining us to discuss further is Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu, who we have missed. Chika, good morning to you. You're very welcome.
Yeah, we had the Afro-Exim week. So
exactly, they're going on and so on and so forth. Good to see you.
Yeah.
So much to discuss, Chika. Where do we begin?
Well, let's talk about investments.
Yes.
Our president in Paris. You know. Well, this is what we'll be looking for. We know what the country requires. We'll be preaching for investment. And several times in this program, we talked about that. The fact that he can't go and ask people to come and bring investment into our country without doing, the key things required to, and made the country very attractive for investment. We talked about the fact that investments or investors are jealous, very jealous people, and they guard beautiful bride.
Yeah.
They get investments jealously. And they go to where, the countries and the geographies where they are more, appreciated. And we knew also the limiting factors to pulling these people into Nigeria. One of them was the exchange rate regime, the multiple exchange rates, which everybody had lampooned. And interestingly, the president, has literally resolved that, even though there are things with the issues there that we would need to also address. Like the 41 items or 3 items that are still in the banned list. In the market, is going to be literally fair, open, willing buyer, willing seller.
Yep.
Those issues need to be addressed because, as I said several times, the issues that make people go to the alternative market, must all be eliminated so that the market can become one price in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We are seeing the collapsing of the two rates or the so-called other rates with the official rates or the high window rate.
Yeah.
What one or two things need to be done to address that. So, but subsidy removed.
Yep.
So which was a major issue for investment in the downstream sector economy.
Yeah.
How would you let somebody to come and bring investments into a petroleum sector, and after that they come and sell at the control price? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I rejoice and smile, and this when I see the validation because of the issues that happen in the neighboring countries about the fuel price. So that has been removed. But critically, also, we know that those two don't make us the destination of choice for investors. The other critical issue that must be addressed.
Yeah.
One, importantly, is security. Security needs to be addressed. We still hear those mass killings and so on and so forth happening in the country.
Yeah.
And we still hear some of the kidnappings happening. So that's the way he has been brave enough to address frontally that issue. I hope that, with the removal or the change in the heads or the security heads in Nigeria, they will champion and follow those issues critically.
Yeah.
So security is a major issue. Second thing is the one that you mentioned today, I think in your rundown, which is power.
Yep, electricity.
Power or electricity is fundamental to any investment you want to make in Nigeria. As we said in this program several times, any project you want to do now, the first thing you want to put in as a cost is the generator. And for most businesses, depending on the sector, it's about 20 to 50% of the cost, and that should not happen. So if I throw myself into your first rundown, which has to do with the NLC protest,
yes,
on the intended 40% increase in the power tariffs, well, put it this way, the objective has been that every segment in Nigeria that has subsidy, the subsidies have to go. We had that understanding throughout. Even when that for the petrol was put out there, and then NLC said they're going to go on strike. They didn't have that kind of national support because we knew that petrol had to go. Now, let me say it this way. The power sector is the sick baby of our nation. Despite the best efforts of the government, loans from central bank and so on and so forth, it always looks like a bottomless pit. Despite the approvals in the past of the of tariff increases, nothing has happened to the threshold of the power supply in Nigeria. The cost for individuals, for corporates, for commercial businesses has also always all been the same thing.
Yeah.
If there's a 40% increase in, it's difficult. It's easier to sell some of these things. If there's a thought through, it is well thought through. For example, if you say you're increasing tariffs by 40% because you want to remove the subsidies, all well and good. But if you also come back and tell people that you're going to have 40% increase in the power availability, that will make life easy. Because, see, the lack of power in Nigeria, the direct costs, and there's so many indirect costs. So many indirect costs. That direct costs that it costs you for things that every time you have the generator on, petrol on or diesel on, the other things that have to do with security, the other things that don't have to do with peace of mind. For a lot of families in Lagos here, what do? They run the generator till about 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, and then put it off and then go to sleep. So you're breaking your sleep.
Right.
There are a lot of families in Lagos here, because of power, they don't cook food for a week. So if power is available, those things will happen. Yeah. So if there's a 40% increase in tariff and a commensurate availability to citizens, which will reduce their cost of living, we can explain that. But always pushing one story, which is you want to increase costs, without a guarantee as to the performance of the discos. It's a problem. Despite everything, look at, we're still struggling 5,000 megawatts per day. Yeah. We have not even reached that threshold. Transmission company of Nigeria is still sick. The discos are still sick, despite all the increases that have been granted to them. So that lies to that. In all this, just aligning with the NLC, is the fact that where is the social net?
For the people.
For the people.
Yeah.
I mean, we miss Madam Social Register, now. Because if it were her, and by now would have had 200 billion has been disbursed to, the 1 billion of disbursed to school children who are in their homes. We don't hear those kind of things again, But we require the social net for the citizens of this country as you remove these subsidies that citizens have enjoyed, for a long time. The cost is real. People are walking farther distances now. Maybe we'll become fitter. Maybe we'll become fitter. Maybe we'll become fitter. That's compensate for that. But if you increase the tariffs without the commensurate net, it's going to be a problem for the citizens of the country. As NLC said, maybe the citizens will not die, but they're pommeling them with everything. But subsidies must go in our economy, so that the right investments will come into the system.
Chika, what about the government's argument that, or rather the other side of the argument that it took so long to remove these subsidies over in the last administration, and that this administration had no choice but to just remove them because there's no more fiscal room, no more space, no more time to waste. We dragged subsidies all through 8 years, dragged electricity subsidies, dragged exchange rate subsidies. So now there's nothing you can do.
Even the worst example, which is like drug addict.
Yeah.
They have been a drug addict for a long time. When you want to stop the drug, you don't just say you stop this taking tramadol today or whatever. There's a process for it, and so that you don't just die, because the lack of it in your system can also cause you problems. So that's what it was saying also. Remove the subsidies. There's no argument about it. The subsidies will have to go. But I'm saying the planners in the government, must also work towards the social net. And thank God that the lack of sensitivity, the high level of insensitivity, in the system was what you see how they clamor and they cries about the 114% increase, supposed increase in salaries of government.
Yep.
Thank God they say it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because anybody who was pushing that, just doesn't like this country. Because the citizens of this country who are taking the brunt of these subsidies removal and on the increased cost, nothing has been said about them.
Right.
The communities are still talking. So that's the issue. Yes, subsidies have to go. But if at the beginning the nets were there, it's easier to bear.
Yeah.
But remember what I said. If you remove subsidy, increase my cost by 40% in power, let me have a commensurate increase in your quality of performance.
Yeah.
Let the fact that let me have 18, 24 hours of power every day. Let all this will reduce the cost of my cost of operation.
Yeah.
Let the generators run down. I have a project that we have in Port Harcourt.
Yeah.
And we used to run 24 hours on generator.
Oh, wow.
For the last 4 years. Subsequently, we had increase in the NEPA availability, in the PHN availability.
Yeah.
See, you won't believe that our cost came down by about 50%.
Wow.
Because of the fact that we moved on from generator to the regular power. That's what you can do to a company. Before we used to see tankers of water, diesel. We're searching everywhere. Sometimes there's no diesel. We're searching everywhere. We have production shutdowns. Because of the fact that we didn't have, you can't find diesel. The generator breaks down. We can't produce. But all those had reduced because the power became available. And that's how it's going to be to the hotels. That's how it's going to be to the manufacturing companies. That's how it's going to be to the commercial businesses. And SMEs, most importantly, a lot of them die because of the fact they start, but the cost of power becomes so high for them they shut down. And this economy will turn around substantially if SMEs, come into play. And one of the major problem for them is power. If you go to this Awolowo Road, there's one shop and go to an Awolowo Road there. There are about 20 generators tied with chain together. Wow. Each shop there had their own generator. I mean, what kind of, even the pollution in the air.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of consequences.
Consequences of that.
Arise business analyst Chika, thank you so much for taking us through this big issue that's being discussed across the country. Appreciate your time.